Good morning, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me all right. I've just swapped microphones and adjusted the camera. Wonderful. Oh, it's lovely to have you all here. So if you want to say hello in the chat and get comfortable, we're going to start sitting to begin with. Hello, hello. Wonderful. Everyone from everywhere. It's great. So today we're continuing working on the earth element, and we've gone down the stomach channel and we're on our way up the spleen channel, and we're going to find our lovely point of the week. I like how Basti's been doing it, finding it at the beginning and then also a little bit later and tuning in to see how that feels. Lovely. We've got the lovely Dinah on the chat, so if you've got any questions or you want to ask anything, Dinah's here for us. That's great. All right. So before we go any further and connect in with some polls, which I'll pull up in a moment, I just want us to, firstly, if you've got, you might not want a piece of paper, but if you do, we're going to make some sort of energetic scribbly drawing or writing some words down. So I've got my little clipboard and pen. I'm going to put that to one side. And then I'm just going to calm and sit. So kind of allowing that space for you as well. You might want to sit on a chair or sitting on the floor, cross-legged, or I've sat onto a bolster just to help ease the front of the hip flexors off and allowing space through the tailbone and sacrum. All right. We're gonna just tune in to how we're doing. We're gonna make a little energetic picture in a moment, but just to begin with, and you can have your eyes closed if that feels comfortable, or just an easy soft gaze. And we're just tuning into the earth beneath us, what supports us, and send some energy back up so we can stay a little bit more upright. We're not mushy puddles on the floor. So that wonderful thing of using gravity in a wonderful way. So the more we go down, the easier it is to come up. So the more we can release the sacrum. If we're sat on a chair, maybe our feet are connected to the ground. Take in a breath in. We'll do 3 breaths, a little bit deeper than our natural breath. And we're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And you can sigh and make a noise if you don't mind doing that at home. So we're going to breathe in through the nose, nice and easy, not forcing anything. And then breathing out through the mouth. Breathing in through the nose. Breathing out through the mouth. We'll do one more, a little deeper. Again, not forcing anything. Oh, yeah, a yawn might come. Oh, a sigh. Lovely. I'm just going to roll the shoulders forward and backwards. Nice. And checking in with the face and the jaw and the throat. And we're going to release the shoulders and checking in with the belly. You might just want to place one hand on the belly there. We're just going to scan through the body here. So you can have your eyes closed. If you need to move and rearrange your legs, please do. If you want to come to sitting on a chair, that's also fine. We're just going to scan through the body and checking in and noticing an area, maybe tension or a physical pain, or maybe you just feel really great. Maybe your mind's whirling really fast, or not much is going on, which is also okay. Also on an emotional level, perhaps being angry or frustrated or feeling stressed. So not just a physical feeling or thing that's going on. We're just going to tune in to see how we're doing as a whole picture. So you can place a hand on the chest or the belly, or releasing them by the side. And I'm going to go for this option and having the eyes closed. We're just going to scanning from the top of the head all the way down to our toes, all the way down to those lovely little toes. So we'll start to just notice the area above the head. How does that feel? It might feel vast, it might just feel just right, like Goldilocks, or maybe a little squashed. Just noticing, we don't have to change anything. And then we're going to scan down, so we're just taking little images. Maybe there's nothing much to kind of report back to yourself when we make a picture. It's just what we notice the most, scanning down onto the head, the face, back of the head and ears, maybe the brain, our thoughts, how our eyes are doing, noticing the mouth and the tongue, down the throat at the front, noticing any sensations, feelings, emotions, sides of the neck, the spine, onto the top of the shoulders, the lovely round shoulder girdle, collarbone, scapulars. And then we're going to scan down the arms first, and we'll come back to the chest. So scanning down the front of the shoulders, the scapula, drawing our attention down our upper arms into the bones, the muscles, into the elbows. One side might feel different to the other. Down into the forearms, just noticing any tension or ease, into the wrists, hands, and all the digits, thumbs and fingers, all the way to the tips. Then we're going to scan back onto the top where we left off from the upper part of the shoulder girdle, scanning in and noticing how the ribs feel, and they start right underneath the collarbone here, and the same at the back, this lovely cage that holds and protects our heart and lungs. Side of the ribs, back of the ribs, into the spine, from the neck, and it runs all the way down through the thoracic to the lumbar, the sacrum and the tailbone. How do the organs feel, and the guts, the belly, the waist area? And then tuning in and scanning into the pelvic bowl, noticing how our pelvis feels. The muscles, maybe the emotion, into the glutes, and we're going to scan down our lovely thigh bones, just noticing how they feel, into the muscles and the flesh, all the lovely tendons, just noticing, maybe they feel great, into the knees, lovely floating patella, and all the complications of how our wonderful knee joints work and are structured. And scanning down the lower legs to the shin, the bones, our lovely calf muscles, into the ankles. And then all the way into our feet. Even if we're sat on them, just noticing the soles of the feet, the heels, the arches and the top of the foot as well, our metatarsals, then all the way down into the toes, even the little toe, noticing how that feels. Lovely. And then if you've got your eyes closed, we're just going to slowly start to open them. If the hands are on the body, we just release them. And we're just going to take a snapshot of how we feel, how we're doing, what does it look like. If you've got pencils, pen, paper nearby and you want to make an energetic drawing or a scribble or write some words down, maybe it's feelings, we're just going to do that now. And it doesn't matter what it looks like or what it feels like, because this is what you feel, and no one else can tell you any different, really. I'm looking quite strange this morning. All right. So take your time with drawing how you're feeling and how you're doing. Whilst you're finishing that off, I'll show you how hilarious I look and feel today. It's good to have a giggle sometimes. As you can see, my legs feel a little empty and wide, but empty. Feet are there, but needs a little bit more energy in them. I've got this blobby feeling around my belly. Again, kind of same empty feeling as the legs. I've got a nice line across the diaphragm, feeling a little stuck and frustrated. Same around the throat area, and this kind of like, not squashed, but kind of hot feeling up here. Hot-headed, woo, that's me this morning. Anyway, if you wanted to share in the chat, you don't have to, you can keep it totally to yourself. If you wanted to share how you're feeling, to get that off your chest, please do. It's lovely to have everyone here. Thanks, Dinah, for welcoming everyone. So before we come up to standing and have a shakeout, let's connect into our feet. I don't know about you, it's really good to get grounded on those lovely things that help us walk, stand, sit, move us around. So if you want, you can sit on the floor. You might want to sit on a chair. I'm going to sit on the floor today. I feel like I need to be totally connected to the ground. So we're going to first of all rub the hands together. Do you know, I didn't do a poll, and I apologise for that. And do you know what? I'm going to throw it out the window, and we're not going to do any. Let me know if you definitely want one, but I'm just not going to do it today. I think I've got a sense of how we're all feeling. Hopefully you can let me know otherwise. So rubbing the hands together. You might want to go in between the fingers, so giving a nice energetic wash around the thumbs. Someone's popped something in. Head feels very tight and dense, fiery. Snaps. Dry throat too, head and heart out of sync for sure. But I'm hoping we've got some lovely things that will help to calm that down and connect in with our earth and heart center and heart energy. And it will help alleviate the head. So rubbing the hands maybe around the wrists. Great. And then we're going to find a foot. You might want to do this on the chair and cross a leg over. Maybe you've got some lovely person at home. You might want to do one another's feet. Well, first of all, we're just going to give them a good old squish. That thing that we do to clay, or like that salt dough stuff. We want to warm it up first to kind of mold it and sculpt it into something beautiful, into our beautiful feet. Giving it a good old squish. You might want to take the heel bone, a lovely calcaneus round in a circle to help undo the back of the heel and the Achilles. You might start to flex the foot and point the foot. Our foot also moves, I'll kind of move this foot. Our foot also moves side to side. That helps us walk and run over bumpy ground. So you might want to give the foot a nice little wiggle there. And we've got an easy breath. So we're focusing on something here, but we're still breathing. Lovely. And then how is it? We're just going to go down each toe, maybe giving them a squeeze or a little bit of a wiggle. Saying hello to our toes. I always think of Annie Cryer down in Hastings when I work my toes, particularly the little one. She always says, how can you know God when you don't know your little toe? So get to know your little toe, and when we know the little things, we can get in touch with the greater things. Or maybe cosmos, God, however it is for you, is your little toe. All right, So taking a hold of all the toes and the digits. Lovely. And then, of course, I know we're on the earth element and into spleen, but let's have a little look at our wonderful kidney one. I'm sure you all know where it is. Second and third metatarsal from the toe down, just underneath the ball of the foot. You might want to do fingers pressing upwards and thumbs on the top and rounding the foot. Or you might want to take a hold of it and pressing the thumbs in. And as we press, kind of gentle but firm, we're sending the breath in. So imagine we're breathing in and sending as we breathe out breath from the lungs, down the arms, and into the soles of our feet, to that lovely bubbling spring. Great. All right. Let's swap onto the other foot. So take your time to swap over. I see some laughing going on in the chat from here. If I squint a little bit, just about see. Good. It's nice to have a giggle. Squeezing the foot all over. Your other foot might feel very different to the first one. I mean, I kind of hope so, because it's left and right, so they're going to be very different. But energetically or to touch, maybe one's had an accident before, or one just takes the weight a little bit more. So helping each foot, listening to each foot and what it needs. Pressing round. So you might want to take a hold of the heel and give it a nice circle. So I'm getting a hold of it with the hands and rolling the bone round. You want to flex the foot and point. And then the same with that wiggle from side to side, seeing what movement there is through the foot. And then when you're ready, taking a hold of each toe. Ooh. It's all right if something's a bit sore, you might want to ease off. I just totally went in there on a lovely point on the foot and it went, oh, hold on there. So it's tuning into your feet. What feels good? If something's sore or tender, maybe do a little bit less. If something feels like it really needs a good workout, go for it. So working our way all the way down the toes. Wonderful. And then the same with this foot. Second and third metatarsal zipping down underneath the ball of the foot and pressing into our lovely kidney one. Easy breath. Sending the energy down and into our feet. So it can gently bubble up and give us a gorgeous energy for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, the rest of this lovely July. Super. Great. And then releasing the feet. Maybe giving the toes a little wiggle. And roll the shoulders a little bit. Great. So before we come up to standing, I'm going to come and put the point of the week, and we're going to check in with it twice. How's everyone doing? Good. Never too late. You're not late. It's great. Better late than never. Here we are. We are on, I think, this one. We've moved up from the ground, moving up the leg, and today's point of the week is spleen 9. This one and the one, it might be next week, we could have a little look. No, we're going to the fingers and the toes next week. So spleen 9, as well as spleen 10, which I will point out as well, really good for stabilizing the knees and helping the knee joint. We'll get in touch with both of them today. Spleen 9, gorgeous point. I will read quickly a little bit about it from this book, Images and Functions, Acupuncture Points. So spleen 9 is called Yin Mound Spring. Spleen 10, which is a little bit above the knee, is the sea of blood. Yummy, yummy. As you can see, a spring and then a sea. So things get larger. Everything's about water in our bodies. Sea and water point of the spleen channel, spleen 9. It's located on the interior border of the medial condyle of the tibia and a depression between the posterior border of the tibia and the gastrocnemius muscle. So let's find it, and then I'll read as you're pressing nicely on your legs. So as you can see on the picture, I'll just stop that for now and I'll bring that slide back up. So you can do this sitting on a chair. I'm going to prop myself up a little bit more so you can see my little leg. Okay, so from our ankle, I've got the foot turned out. We're zipping up kind of the inside seamy line just about to the bony bit on the top. So the knees here on the inside. We've got a lovely bony bit at the tibia. We're going to fold inwards, and then where the head of the calf muscle is, for me, there's my spleen line. Hopefully you can all find it. And you might want to use a thumb. You can rest the leg kind of in front and press in here. You might want to fold the leg and have it open to connect in. You can use fingertips if it feels a bit tender. For me, this one, I really like a thumb in there. I feel like it's supportive and reassuring. So same thing again with our kidney point. We're just going to gently breathe in and then breathe it out onto this gorgeous spleen line. I will again share those pictures again. Yes, it can be very tender. So as you can see, it resolves dampness in our lower burner. It helps abdominal distension. Oh, that might help with my weird, bloaty, empty belly. And maybe yours if you have that too. And it helps pain in a local area in our knee joint. I'm going to read from this book whilst you're pressing. And then when you're ready, swap over to the other leg. So finding that bony bit, don't be afraid to kind of press around the leg. Have a good feel for what your bone feels like. Slipping out into the kind of inside edge near the top of our calf muscle. So the image of this point is beautiful, located in a depression or opening at the inferior margin of our tibia. It's like a spring at the base of a hill or a mound. Yin spring refers to a deep and pure source of yin energy. So if you're like me and you're feeling hot-headed and you need to ground a little bit more but nourish at the same time, this point is so ideal. You know, I'm very glad I'm doing the class today. I think I need it as well. Thank you, Dinah. Yes. So signs of dampness include feeling heavy, especially heavy legs, loose stools or diarrhea, swelling anywhere, or anything like a wetness or a phlegm, sinuses, congestion, discharges, and oozing, and eczema, etc. That's it. And then in this book, it says things like the functions. It tonifies the spleen, especially the yang. Stomach goes down, yin rises, comes up. It regulates our stomach and the lower burner, resolves dampness and all those lovely things that Dinah's just listed, and damp summer heat. I guess we've kind of got a little bit of that going on with the weather. Regulates all our water pathways and promotes urine. So maybe you'll need a pee after 11 o'clock. All right. Wonderful. I'm going to pop that book to one side. So if you've had a go at one side and you want to connect in with the second side, please do. I'm going to stop sharing these slides here. So I've got my other leg here. You can't quite see my leg with the dark bolster as well, but hopefully you can really feel it. Oh yes, there he is. Oh yes, it might feel tender, so put a little less pressure on. You might want to use a thumb or fingers. Or if it's really ouchy, using the center, the palm of your hand, it's kind of closing round the knee here. Great. Oh, thank you, Dinah. Yes, it does always seem to be a little bit tender. So it's okay. Great. So I'm going to come up to standing and show you the next point our spleen 10. I don't have a picture for it. However, I will read a little bit. Well, I've just closed the book very cleverly. There are you. Here we are, spleen 10. This is really good for the knees, and we're going to get into our knees a little bit more. It is, with the knee flexed, located 2 units to sun superior to the medial superior ridge of the patella. So I'll come up to standing. We've got our spleen 9 here. We're going to zip up the inside, and my kneecaps are here, and I'm just coming upwards 2 from the top of my kneecap. 1, 2, just on the inside. So we've got our train tracks. Stomach goes down, spleen comes up, and my spleen 10 is here. We've got 9 here. So these points are really good at stabilizing the knee joint and helping any pain around the knees. So if you want to come up to standing, you can also do this sitting on a chair, connecting in with these points. So if we just shake the hands out gently, have the feet nice and grounded, easy ankles. We're just going to soften the knees, slowly bend forward through our front of the pelvis, and then just taking a hold of the knees and giving them a good little squish on the insides, connecting with spleen, nourishing. You might want to gently kind of use fingertips and thumbs around the kneecaps. And then going down and finding that gorgeous point, spleen 9 that we've just found, slightly dipping in where the edge of our calf muscle is. Wonderful. Let's gently come up again. So we're just squishing around the top of the knee, and then finding that lovely spleen 10. And then squeezing gently around. You might want to rotate. Obviously, do what feels good for your knees. If your kneecaps do not feel comfortable being manipulated like this, place the hands over the kneecaps very gently. And then finding that lovely spleen 9 again. Wonderful. All right. And then gently releasing the hands and softening the knees and arm curling. We're going to come up to standing. I mean, already my legs feel better and my little blobby area is starting to ease and my head's not so hot. So, how are we doing? Good. We've got plenty of time. So we're going to come all the way up to standing there, getting nice and comfy. And we're going to have a little bit of a shake out. We're going to tap round our meridians. And then I wanted to share with you all a really lovely Qi Gong movement. I know it named as earth to heart, connecting in with the front of our conception vessel. Diana, correct me if I'm wrong, if there's another name for it. I got it off the lady who teaches Qi Gong in America. I don't know the Chinese name for it, but we're going to connect in with the earth, gather in the earth, and then open the heart. Anyway, we'll come to that a little bit later. So let's shake the hands out, gently releasing the fingers. Easy breath. And we can shake as vigorously or as easy as we wish to into the wrists, into the forearms, so we're getting our wet noodle bones going, into the elbows. Wonderful. Into the upper arm and the shoulders. Whew. And then just allowing the arms to really wiggle around and do what they need to do to undo. Lovely. And then releasing the arms by the sides of the body. So we're going to work our way downwards. So from here, how is it just to take the head to look from one side and then the other? There's no rush. We're not forcing anything either. So if the neck's kind of kicking in, we're going to reduce the range in which we look with the head. So gently taking the head from one side to the other. Lubricating that lovely neck vertebrae, how the head's moving on the top of the spine. It comes in at our ear level. So our spine does not stop here, it comes all the way up to the ears. Easy breath. If you want to, you might want to shake out the whole face, relax the face and kind of do this a few times. Today that's not for me, but if you want to go with that, please do. I'm just going to stick to a slower movement with the head. But if you want to feel like you want to really shake your face out and make a noise, please do. Wonderful. And then bringing the head back to the center again. And we're just going to soften the knees, softening the pelvis. I'll turn sideways a bit and imagining our lovely tailbone grows a little bit longer. And we're just going to wiggle the hips from side to side, allowing the belly to be easy. Ooh, there's loads going on in the chat today. Wonderful. Easing the hips, soft knees, easy ankles and feet. Easy breath. So even though we're thinking about grounding, if anyone's had any blocks like me or a kind of obstruction, a little wiggle and gentle twisting, as you all know, will help our liver channel, help the middle burner to kind of let go of all that frustration, tension and blocking and blockages. Lovely. You can stay with this smooth, slower movement if you want to. If you bring the pelvis back in underneath a little bit and then release the hips, allow a little bounce through the knees. Yes, we're shaking our tail feathers, allowing the spine to undo and the head's just wobbling at the top. Ooh. Wonderful. And then if we're really shaking the tail, we're just going to come back to our easier, smoother, juicier movement. Great. And then from here, releasing the hips, we're just going to shift the weight into one foot. You might want to lean on the wall or the back of a chair, placing the weight into one foot. And we're going to do the same with our feet. Releasing the toes, soles of the foot. Lovely. You can change the angle of the leg. You might want to flex the foot, shake out the heel. Ooh. Oh, that feels quite good actually. Back of the legs getting a good old shake out into the ankle. You can put the foot down and pick it up whenever. Into the lower leg, into the knee, seeing how your knee joints feel, having a good shake out into the thigh. Wonderful. And then making sure you've got room behind you and in front of you, taking the leg for a good old swing. If this is not okay and it hurts your leg, softening the supporting knee, rest the heel on the floor, and then just wiggle the leg in the hip socket from side to side. So we're loosening and easing off all the way up into the hip, giving the leg a good old swing and a shake out. All right, we're going to move to our other leg. Let's make the other one feel really good today. So we're rooting down, finding ease in that supporting leg. We're shaking out the other foot. Wonderful. Changing the angle. Might be different for this leg. Yeah. Heel, flexing the foot if that feels good. It's like shaking out a pepper pot. Changing the angle, and then shaking out the ankle. Wonderful. And then moving up to the lower leg and into the knee. Super duper. Into the thigh, muscle and bone. And then the same thing again. You might want to rest the heel on the floor and shake the leg out into the hip socket. So we're not moving the foot or the knee. We're moving the hip socket. So the leg's nice and long. Or you might want to take the leg for a really good swing and a shake out. Wonderful. Great. All right. And then gently coming to standing. How's everyone doing in the chat? Yes. Thank you very much, Dinah, for all those symptoms and sharing about the spleen 10. It's actually one of my favorite. Well, I've got a handful of favorites, but it is up there for me. All right. So padding the feet in the ground, including putting some weight in the heels. Don't know about you, but sometimes if I go to an exercise class or a yoga, sometimes when we're standing, the weight can be a little bit forward in the balls of the feet. How is it just to drop back, release the toes, drop some weight into the heels so we can stand straight up. So the lower legs come straight up out of the ankles. See, this is what happens when we rush around the city and we're in a bit of a rushy, fast mess. So you can see the lower legs moving forward. If I drop some weight into the heels, it's like the ankles and the legs stand out the ground like big redwood trees, straight up and out the ground. Wonderful. All right. So we're going to tap round the meridians. And take my specs off. So we've got easy hands now. We're going to start on the top of the head, very gently, like heavy raindrops, doing what feels comfortable there. We've got easy ankles, feet, knees, hips, easy breath. Then we're going to go round the top and the back of the head into the occipital ridge, and then round either side of the ears. We're going to come either side of the ears from the forehead. Great. Maybe I'll come a little bit closer so you can see where I'm going. So we've gone down the top, straight down to the back of the head, connecting in with the bladder. We're going to come either side of the head. Gallbladder. So it makes this banana shape here. That might also help with our hot-headedness and strange feeling that we've got going on, if anybody had that when we did our energetic drawing. Great, and then tracing round the ears into our triple heater here, right close round the ear, and then onto the neck. Wonderful. Then we're going to come to the front of the face, a little bit softer onto the forehead, round the eyebrows, either side of the eyes. And we're going to tap onto the cheekbones. And then we've got our start of our stomach channel, which we've done a few weeks ago. Gently tapping. You can open the mouth and the jaw. The spleen comes into the side of the face as well. So you might want to tap either side of the face. So stomach and spleen, our earth element, they connect in with the eyes and the jaw. We see something that we want, something delicious, and we want it. See something delicious to eat, and we're going to bring it in. It goes to the front of the body, which we're going to find in a minute because we're going to tap all the way down it into the jaw, and then very gently down the throat, but we're using a brushing motion. I'm going to come back up to standing. Down the throat. Oh, our feet are still nicely grounded. You can rearrange them. We don't have to stay stuck. Great. And then brushing the chest. You might want to tap or brush the top of the chest there. Wonderful. And then we're going to tap down our arms. We're going to go long one. So we can breathe in the good stuff. And we're going to tap down all the way to the thumb, inside edge of the arm. Turning the hand over, come up the index finger. Letting go of stuff we don't need. Tapping around. We'll go a couple of times more down to the thumb. Turning the hand over. Breathing in the good stuff. Letting go what we don't need. Let's go around once more on this arm and come to the other one. It might be a point that feels really good. And again, you can alter how firm or gentle you're tapping. And then onto the chest, you might want to use fingertips or a little bit more Tarzan. Making a sound if that feels good. And then extending out the other arm. Same thing. Again, it's a different arm. It might feel that it needs something different to the other side. Tapping down the inside edge to the thumb, breathing in. Breathing in the good stuff. Up the index finger. All the way to the shoulder. Yeah, breathing out stuff you don't need. And then down to the thumb. up to the shoulder. Let's go once more down the arm. Wonderful. All the way up the inside, up the outside, and then gently onto the chest. So if it feels all right, we're just going to kind of pat either side of the pectoral muscles. You might want to do one down the side part here. You might want to do both at the same time. This is where our spleen channel comes. Either side of the pectoral or breast tissues. Great, and then onto the hips. We'll just gently pad round the belly. And let's go into the kidneys just a little bit. So I'll turn around so you can see. Soften the knees and gently release the head a little bit further forward. And use the index finger and thumb side. I'm just going to tap either side. Might be a little more gentle around the kidney area. We don't have to go full force. Thinking of our lovely kidney 1. And our strong, nourished knees with spleen 9 and 10. And then either side of the spine into the sacrum and then into the glutes. You might want to use a loose fist here. God, it's one of my favourite things to do. Because not everybody's tension goes to their shoulders. Mine sits in the hips and particularly in the glutes. So if you're like me, maybe your tension or stress goes to the pelvis, so giving these a good old workout will definitely help release that. And then opening the hands into a palm, and we're going to tap down the front edge outside of the leg down towards the second toe, and then we're going to tap up the inside, big toe, inside edge, up to find our spleen 9 and 10, and then up to the top of the hips. We'll do that a few times. Soft ankles, knees and hips. Relaxing the head. Go down the front edge, round the stomach. Making sure the head's relaxed. Towards the feet. You can reach the second toe. That's wonderful. Don't worry, we can imagine it. And then we're going to come up the inside edge of that big toe. Inside edge of the arch. Up the ankle. Tapping into that lovely spleen 9. And then 10. And then all the way up into the hips. We'll go down a couple of times. If you want to rest, please do. Down the outside front edge. Releasing the head. All the way to the second toe. And then off the big toe edge. Up the shin, into the knee. Let the spleen 9. 10. If you want to go around again, please do. You can stay standing if not. And drawing the energy gently all the way up. And then we're just going to take the hands in a nice circle. Right hip, left ribs, right ribs, across to the left, down to the left hip. Right hip, right ribs, left ribs, left hip. And we're slowly going to make this gorgeous circle of energy become a spiral. The movement of our earth energy, it circles and spirals. Nice and easy, all the way until we rest the hands just below the belly button on our dantian. Something delicious. Wonderful. And then just resting here, making sure shoulders and elbows are relaxed. You might want to close the eyes. Easy breath. Great. Just going to check in with the chat. I think you're all doing really well. Always find the head tapping tricky. Yes, I think Dinah's... Oh yes, taking go. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you can also use like hand pressing if tapping feels uncomfortable. But yes, I see what you mean with glasses or not glasses. Thank you, Dinah, for all the help in the chat. So, whilst we're standing, you could also do this sitting if standing's a little difficult. And I'm going to show it. There's 2 different ways of doing it with the knees or with the knees in line. If there's any lower back issues, any sore knees, keep the knees in line. If you want to, and if it feels okay to, You can widen the feet a little bit, just a tiny bit. And as we go down, the knees are just gently going to drop together. And we're opening up the sides of the legs into the hips. And then when we unroll, they're going to come back and realign, because we use the feet to realign us again. So it's like the spleen channel draws up as we realign. Dinah, I don't know if you've done this one before, probably some version of it. I'll talk us through it really gently. So the hands are around the waist height, facing downwards. And then the fingertips are going to point towards the ground. And we're going to draw down towards the ground. You can keep the knees in line or allow the knees to meet, drawing all the way down. At the bottom here, you don't have to be like totally over, because this one, you're not going to go that far. I'll show you sideways. I'm kind of like here. So we're gently opening the sacrum, going to circle the earth and then gathering it in, something delicious. This is where the feet engage again and undo the knees. So we're gathering something, feet engage, undo the knees, and then we're drawing this beautiful thing into the belly. So hands are still away, and then the hands release down, zip up our inside midline of our conception vessel, and then we're going to open the hands like a heart shape for the chest, palms to the sky, and then turning the palms over, and we're gathering again in front of us and drawing a lovely energy into the heart. Great. And then we go down to the belly, and then we keep going down. We're going to soften the knees if that feels okay. Keep them in line if not. Gather the earth energy, and then we're drawing it up. Release the legs so they're becoming strong and nourished. Sending that lovely energy into the belly and the pelvis. Fingertips drop, and we make a zip up our center line. Make a lovely heart shape with the arms, palms facing upwards. And then gathering forward, the arms move down, hands move down, and then we draw that lovely thing back to our heart again. I'll turn sideways and do it a few times. I'll talk once more and then I'll shush it so you can enjoy that feeling for yourselves. So gently drawing down, finding the belly. The knees can drop together if that feels okay. Drawing around our lovely earth. And then the feet engage, the inside of the legs engage, drawing up the legs into the pelvis, releasing the fingers down, connecting the earth to our heart. Everything's gentle, gently opening the heart center, palms facing upwards to our lovely sun. We're drawing it down and gathering it in, forwards and into our heart. All right, I'll leave us to go in our own pace. Rest whenever you need to. If you've had a go at the knees touching and you don't want to do it anymore, feel free to change into keeping the knees in alignment. Easy breath. But we're gathering in this good stuff just for us, just for yourself. And might be a bit for you where you want to stay a bit longer. Maybe you want to hang out and enjoy that lovely bit around the earth, or drawing it up the legs. Feel free to take your time. Maybe you want to stay with it around the pelvis and belly area. Or maybe it's when you zip up the central channel to the heart. Maybe that feels really good, delicious and precious. Gathering in, or maybe you want to be a little smoother, faster with the form. Do what feels good for you. I think I'm happy with a slower pace, helping things to nourish helping things to gain strength. A lovely, satisfied feeling, filling ourselves up from the ground. All right, how are we doing? Great. Let's make this next one, if you want, if you've come to a rest, that's absolutely fine. Just going to make this last round together, sinking to the ground, drawing this lovely energy up. And then drawing it up to the belly, dropping the fingers, gently opening the heart. And then we're going to gather the hands forward. And this time we're going to place the hands on the chest and the heart center. Something yummy for you, fill you with joy. And then draw that energy down to the belly. Wonderful. And we can stay standing. We're going to find that lovely point of the week again to see how it's doing. Maybe it's changed. Maybe it feels less tender. Maybe it feels really good. So we're just going to tune into how it feels. We can do it the same thing we did earlier, resting the hands on the knees and giving them a good gentle squeeze, finding spleen 10 and then down into our lovely spleen 9. If you want, you can come to sitting. You might want to sit on the floor and press down the inside edge to the knee and then finding that gorgeous point, spleen 9. So doing what feels good, standing or sitting, finding that lovely point of the week. I'm going to put that back up on the slide for you if you want to see that again. I think it's this one. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yes, it is a slight variation form of the 9 forms of pre-Heron Qi Gong. It does look quite similar to that, doesn't it? Yes. I'll have to look up what this lady's called it, so apologies for my pantsness of the name of that Qi Gong form. Anyway, connecting into our lovely spleen 9, our yin spring mound. That spring beneath the hill or the mound of the ground. We'll do it on both legs. Let's not forget we want to make ourselves as equal and as loving on both sides of our body. Wonderful. Easy finding the points. If they're tender, you might just want to use the palm of the hand and hold and send some lovely nourishing energy to that point. Perhaps it feels okay to give it more of a firm press. Great. All right. So having a good old squeeze, you might want to just rub down the legs, inside of the legs. Oh. I'm going to stop sharing this slide again. Wonderful. Okay. So from here, just to wrap up, I can't believe we've got like 5 minutes left. Where does the time go? Hopefully you're all feeling a little bit better. I'm feeling very different to this. My middle is kind of eased off. So before we utterly wrap up the session, if we come back to an easy sitting, I'm going to sit on this nice bolster. Lovely. Releasing the hips, allowing the sitting bones and the sacrum to drop a little bit more to the ground, even if we sat on the chair. Lovely. Same thing as we did at the beginning when we tuned in to see and sorry, I'm just laughing at my own image. When we tuned in to our energetic feeling and quality, we're just going to do the same again. You might want to rest the hands on the legs or one on the chest and one on the belly. So do whatever feels comfortable. You can close your eyes if you want to. And in your mind's eye, start from the top of the head. We're just gently going to scan down. See how you're doing. Don't worry if nothing's changed. You've turned up here this morning for yourself, and I think that's wonderful. And you should thank yourself for doing so. So taking easy breaths, scanning from the top of the head, skull, brain, face. We're going a little bit quicker. Hopefully the hot-headedness has calmed and eased because we've nourished the yin. How does the throat feel and the neck, the spine that pulls all the way down the body, from the ears to the tip of the tailbone? How do the shoulders feel? Arms, elbows, forearms, wrists into the hands and fingers. How does your rib cage feel? Heart and lungs, diaphragm into the belly, organs and guts, down into the pelvic bowl, and all those lovely bones that help support all the important organs to rest, into the hip sockets, thigh bones, muscles, into the knees, the lower legs, those gorgeous points we've connected to on the spleen channel, down into the ankles, feet, heels, soles of the foot, metatarsals into the toes, and your little toes, your lovely little toes. Just noticing. You might just want to take a snapshot of that in your mind. If you want to make a note of it, you might want to draw next to your other drawing if that feels good. I feel a lot more wholesome, which is nice, and stronger legs. So I've gone from a very strange, I've got like a funny belly button thing going on. Gone from a very strange, like stuck person over here in a hot head to feeling much rounder, smoother and stronger legs. Anyway, thank you, Dinah, so much for being in the chat. Before we go, if you want to stay sitting for a bit, I just wanted to read from our lovely Carol Bedford's cook book, Shiatsu Theory and Practice, about the earth element and what it does. So, the earth element is the foundation of our physical existence. Makes sense. Although we now know through quantum physics that all material phenomena consists of moving energy patterns. It is the earth quality and those patterns which for millions of years have given us the sense of stable, dependable reality. The earth itself is solid, supportive, and apparently immovable, which is why earthquakes are perhaps terrifying. We are used to taking the solidity of the earth for granted. And it's the same in our lives, whatever represents our stability and support in our lives. I wanted to move on to the fact that in this lovely book, it talks about how the earth absorbs the rain, the lightning, the compost, the things that die, to help it grow and be nourished. So the earth element, stomach and spleen, is about receiving for us to feel nurtured, and then we can grow. I'm going to leave you on that lovely note. Dinah, thank you so much for all those sweet words you've put in the chat. I hope you all have a lovely day, feeling more grounded and easier in your body, and see you soon. Have a lovely week, and don't know who's on next week, but I'm sure it'll be wonderful. Take care. All right, bye-bye.